What else we got? What?
Well, I'm sure I saw someone in chat mention, I wonder if they're going to talk about this. We are. So there was recently a hearing over in the United Kingdom area of the world, and EA was there, and also Epic was there. So they were there to talk about loot boxes and whether it is an ethical practice, whether it needs to be changed, whether it makes people get into gambling, or if it is just straight up gambling. If it is the case, that would be illegal because kids can't gamble. So it's turned into sort of a meme at this point, because when this lady who was representing EA was asked about, do you consider loot boxes an ethical practice? She said, we don't call them loot boxes. We call them surprise mechanics.
Surprise.
So that in itself was a complete meme, because it was just like, well, they're not loot, they're surprise mechanics. And the reason that they went down this surprise mechanic route is because her argument for these surprise mechanics being in games was that people enjoy surprises. People love surprises. You get a surprise, $1 million. Whoop! Amazing.
Surprise parking
I would
ticket.
enjoy a surprise $1 million. I don't want to surprise pay for shit though.
Dude, surprise parking tickets, surprise the boiler blew. Surprise. Surprise.
Oh, well, that makes it all better.
Surprise jury duty. All right.
Surprise.
And she then continued with it's been a part of toys forever. You go and buy like this thing, you're not really sure what you're going to get. Like you get like a group of aliens, or Pokemon cards is a good example, where you can buy a pack of Pokemon cards and it's random what you get. So she said that these have been in toys forever, and that she believed that the way that they've implemented these surprise mechanics are ethical and fun. So that's why they went down the surprise mechanics route, because they're comparing it to Pokemon cards and Kinder eggs, which I don't know if you want to use Kinder eggs because it's illegal in America. So I don't know if you want to.
What is Kinder eggs, by the way?
Yeah, I don't actually know what Kinder eggs are.
What a Kinder egg is? Oh,
no.
I feel so sad for him. So, well, first of all, it's delicious chocolate, but it's a small egg, small-ish egg. And it's hollow on the inside. So you break it apart and it's got a toy inside.
Okay, I've heard about
this. Is the egg made out of
toy.
chocolate?
Yes.
And then there's a toy inside the egg?
Yes.
And you don't know what the toy is going to be, but you know you're getting chocolate.
Usually there's like some kind of theme, like Disney princess, for example, and you'll get one of 10 Disney princesses or whatever in the egg.
If the chocolate melted, would it actually melt into the toy in the center?
No, so there's there's the egg, and then it's hollow inside, and there's like a capsule that the toy is in. So it's like a plastic
like one of those kind of things you'd get out of a vending machine.
Yeah, it's very similar to that, but it's kind of a bit thinner because the egg's quite small. So no toys are easily accessible without actually breaking this capsule up and getting
bite in and like take the head off.
I really want to know why those are illegal in America, and I'm positive it's because somebody's tried to swallow the plastic toy.
It's because kids could potentially swallow the plastic toy.
This comes back to what we were talking about.
Capsule, dude. It's
right.
a capsule. You have to open the capsule. And
this comes back to what we were talking about before the podcast.
Natural selection.
The dumb ones need to die. We can't let everybody live. We're running out of room and food and water.
If you eat a Tide Pod, it's your fault.
Yeah. Like, thank you for eating that Tide Pod. You've done our job for us.
Playing the game of humanity. We'll see you next time.
You lost this round.
I went to I think it was Target. I was just looking for like some cat treats. Got to the Tide Pods, they're locked behind a barrier. You have to get them to unlock the Tide Pods.
I think we should like put those right out in the main aisle. Right, they should be they should be right at the cash register. Like as an impulse buy. Ooh, Tide Pod challenge. I think I will. Next to the candy bars, exactly. They're brightly colored like candy. It's perfect.
That's what the problem was. Kids thought they were candy because they have bright colors and they look delicious. So, I mean,
it's like a plastic bag that says "not a toy." Like, like, who are we trying to protect here?
Oh my god. Well, back to surprise mechanics. It is really funny seeing them like try to back the loot box thing and like just so much backpedaling and trying to just be like, oh, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
You see, the only time that I can see that is if I can buy most of the things for what I want. I see a skin in, League of Legends, and I'm like, I want that skin. I buy it. But then maybe they have a special event where it's like, there's 5 skins that you can get out of this loot box. Do you want to try and get it? All right. But Fortnite and like a lot of other people's not Fortnite, but a lot of EA stuff that they've done in FIFA, especially, it's all pure RNG. There is no direct purchasing involved. At least I don't think. I don't play FIFA, but I know there's a lot of gambling involved.
I think all the Pokemon guys and like Topps and Fleer, like all the baseball card trading companies, are like, whoa, why are you like?
don't compare
us because we're doing the same shit over here. We've been doing it for 70 years.
You're getting a physical product. You're just buying ones and zeros.
Yeah, I think that's part of the argument, is that if you are buying these Pokemon cards or baseball cards or Magic cards, you're having a physical thing that you can hold on to, and then usually go up. A lot of them go up in price, and you can sell them. But with these things, you're not getting anything tangible. It's an online product that doesn't have any actual value.
I can speak from the viewpoint of somebody who was totally addicted buying baseball cards when I was a kid. I spent all my money on baseball cards. I was always trying to get like my favorite, players. Yeah. Like it totally feels like the same thing to me. It's they're using like RNG basically, and I'm just buying a bunch of shit that I don't want in the hopes of getting something I do want. And
it's the same thing.
It feels predatory toward children, like it
is. Yeah, they're made towards children, right? Yeah. I think Pokemon cards were actually banned in some countries for that reason.
Yeah, I spent all my money as a kid on Magic cards. Not joking, not memeing right here, like legit. When I had money, I was like, I'm going to the card shop. I'm buying some Magic cards. I'm going to see what I pull. Yeah. And the problem is it's so accessible online, whereas with the card shop or card packs, you have to physically get the money, go to the shop, which usually involves some sort of transportation from your parents that then also have the money ready for you to then get those cards. Whereas online, if you stole your parents' card, you can put it in there and rack up like $500 worth of charges within a very short amount of time. And there's no easy stopgap right there to be like, well, clearly you shouldn't be doing this, kid. Yeah, there's no clerk at the store being like, well, this isn't your card. You're not.
Well, you're 10 and you have a credit card. This really makes much sense. I could totally see that being how they separate the two things, where it's like online, you can just sit at your desk, or on a phone. With Fortnite, you can have it on literally any device now, and you can just purchase, and there's no kind of middleman to stop that from happening. So I could see how that they could separate it like that, and that would probably work for them to separate it like that. It is the same behavior in that people are addicted to wanting to get the thing that they want, so they just keep spending.
It's that dopamine hit,
right?
I did it with Pokemon cards.
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy for a kid to get that feeling and that rush and want to see it again. And my nephew's talking about how much money him and his friends have spent on like Fortnite skins and all that. I'm like, that's like a computer, dude. Why did you spend that money on that? It's crazy.
Yeah. So we've talked about it before. I don't really know what the answer is. Besides, we got into a whole discussion about what if, the government just bans loot boxes and how that could be difficult, because then you have people who know nothing about video games creating rules and legislation for video games, and who knows what kind of problems that could cause.
Watch, if they don't self-regulate, they're forcing the government to step in. Like they have every opportunity to self-regulate here. They have a organization, the ESRB, that's literally made for this purpose.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Completely ignoring the issue.
Yeah, I think so. It's like what we talked about before, where they need to say if there's loot boxes in a game, then it gets this rating, and then there you go. It literally says on it, loot boxes are involved on the actual packaging of the game, and then they have to rate it over a certain age if that is involved. And then at that point, it's down to people listening to age restrictions and reading.
I don't think the government is going to use such a.
They won't.
small blade. I think that they usually swing a hammer, not a.
They do.
Yeah.
Not a.
That's why they need to step in and figure it out themselves, like you said, Briar, because otherwise they're just going to say no.
I don't think they're
loot
capable
boxes, no
at this point.
microtransactions.
From what I understand about the ESRB of recent, is that they're in no place. Their management is completely borked, and they're in no place to be setting rules for anybody. So it looks like the governments of the world are going to have to step in on behalf of the citizens, and they're going to swing the hammer. They're going to say, look, either get them out of the game, or you can only sell these things to people who are 18 plus or whatever.
They can
but either way, it's going to get rid of them completely, which I think benefits all of us.
Yeah, they could even make it to where you have to verify that it's your card, and there's things that can be done that people could have done in their own individual games to make it not happen. And I don't want the government involved in gaming stuff, because I think it could indeed be a bad road that we end up going down. But
yeah, but if they're not capable of self-regulating this stuff, and they're not. I mean, you look at Randy Pitchford's statement about there's no microtransactions in this game. Like, it's like the game companies themselves, the people who make the games, don't even really seem to get the lingo or fully understand what's going on, or they're being just evasive about it.
Yeah, I think that was a language issue, not understanding the difference between microtransactions and loot boxes. Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, it's a tough one, because if they don't regulate themselves, then eventually the government has to step in and make it 18 or older if you do any of that stuff. It's like alcohol and gambling. Why do they have to step in? Right. Because somebody out there is going to be like, well, I can make money off these kids. I'm going to do it unless the government says it's illegal.
Right? You know what kids like?
Alcohol and gambling.
Alcohol and gambling.
It's highly addictive for a kid.
I'm going to really target that 11 to 13-year-old market. They get drunk so easy, and then you just bring them to the casino, and all their money is ours.
Yeah. I mean, they used to sell the candies that look like cigarettes, right? Because kids like to pretend that they were smoking cigarettes.
I totally bought those when I was a kid. We used to walk around smoking them.
That's hilarious.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Exactly.
Hell yeah.
Kids are all about. And then you get old and you're like,
So do you think it's okay if they just if they just sell exactly what it is, that if you want to buy it, and that's okay for the microtransactions to be in the game?
Yeah. I think that's much more straightforward. It's much more honest.
Because it's not gambling, right?
No.
You're not gambling of a chance of this one thing that you want and getting all this crap you don't want and have to keep spending.
Yeah, the problem is that the video game companies are going to make a ton less money doing it that way.
Oh, yeah.
And they know it, right? They know that the reason they make so much money from loot boxes is because people only have to spend a little bit at a time, and they're always hoping to get that really cool thing. Yeah. But if they can't do loot boxes, they're going to have to sell that really cool thing for much more money, and then all of a sudden, I'm not spending $1, I'm spending $18 for a suit that looks like Iron Man. Fuck. Yeah. I'm not into that. When the loot box hides the transaction, they hide the actual price of the things.
It does.
That's why they that's why they exist.
It's a surprise mechanic.
It is a surprise mechanic. Surprise, you're poor now.
It's a surprise. Definitely is a surprise.
Surprise, you can't pay your mortgage.
Yeah, I'm personally okay if you can just straight up buy what you want directly.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, because in certain games, I still have a problem with it in Destiny, because it's a loot-based game. The whole point of playing Destiny is to go out and find loot. So to have some of the best gear in the game be just for purchase, it takes away some of the fun of looting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand.
In certain games, I like it. I'm fine with it. In Fortnite, I'd be fine with it. In Apex, I'd be fine with it. In other games, I'm like, well, you're ruining kind of in Borderlands, I don't want the best guns in the game to be, in the store.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to be out there lootable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's understandable. Okay.
And most of these don't do that. There's only been a few cases where EA has put in surprise mechanics of weapons and characters and they got spanked for that pretty quick. But yeah, The RNG of it is really what the problem is, and also kids kids not knowing how to control themselves.
Well, yeah, because it's exciting, right? And you want to just you want to keep going. You want to keep going. Oh, I got the thing that I want. Maybe I can get this other thing that I want.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going. And it's all designed to make you feel that the big explosions, the bright colors, that all adds to the excitement of seeing that loot box open.
What was it, the CSGO lotteries a few years ago that a couple of YouTubers got in trouble for, right? That was preying on the exact same tendencies. Like, okay, you pay a little bit of money to get into this lottery and you could win, this super cool knife with like a rainbow, graphics on it, but you're probably going to get shit on.
Mm-hmm.
But you could win. And all their videos showed you winning.
You might be that one person that then gets to rub it in the face of all your friends. Possibly.
But
and there's some games that are literally created as the RNG games, like the gacha games from Japan, where the whole game is just putting in money and trying to get the best stuff from complete RNG.
Wow.
I feel like that's why I don't play any mobile games anymore, is because they've all turned into, you gotta buy this, you gotta buy that. I'm like, well, I'd much rather spend, especially for a mobile game, $5, $10, $15, $20 up front, and then for the rest of my gameplay experience, not be like nickel and dimed, not feel like I'm constantly being harassed for more money. It's like hanging out with a friend who's always asking you for money. Like, fuck, this sucks.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the solution is going to be. I feel like we're going to be pretty far out of getting an across all games solution.
Based on EA's language, I don't think it's coming from the video game companies. I think the solution is definitely coming from the governments, and that's sad.
It's gonna have to. When EA is in there being like, well, it's not loot boxes, and they also said that they think it's perfectly ethical. They said that they disagree that it's gambling, and they disagree that these things lead to any kind of gambling.
They sound like the cigarette companies when they were getting sued in the 90s.
Right?
They totally sound like that. Like completely changing like the language of a loot box to a surprise mechanic. Like, you're not fooling anybody. You're just trying to reframe this. Like, when she says that, Watch shared that video right before the show, and when she says that, you can see it in her eyes. She doesn't even buy it. Like, she looks down, she's like, fuck. Am I gonna get through this one?
And this wasn't the only memeable thing that was said during this whole thing. We had Epic Games step up to the microphone and said something equally hilarious.
Oh boy.
So they were talking about how much money do you make? How much money is someone going to spend if they play your game frequently? So there was a whole back and forth of what's frequently. Would you consider a frequent player? What's a lot of money? Who knows? What is money? It's a mystery.
What is finance?
What's a blowjob? What constitutes sex? What does is mean?
Oh my gosh, it's so ridiculous. So there was this back and forth, and they were like, so how much money did you make from Fortnite? And the guy said, I don't think it's accurate to define Epic as making money from people playing the game.
No, Epic makes money from people buying loot boxes. That's what we're here to talk about.
How could they possibly say
luckily, I don't know. Luckily, the guy called him out, and he was like, well, you're not a charity. You're not making a game free out of the goodness of your heart. And they were like, no.
Epic's not a nonprofit. It's not a not-for-profit.
They
made $2.4 billion last year from Fortnite, from people buying skins.
Do you think they
Why are people buying skins for their character? They play with them. They're not just There's not some guy just collecting skins who doesn't play the game.
Now,
right.
I haven't looked at the Fortnite store in a long time, but is there actually a loot box in Fortnite? The BR? I thought it's like it only rotates like weekly, like
rotate specific things that you can buy.
Yeah, because I actually don't know. I haven't played Fortnite in a long time.
I thought the llama pinata things were the
that was in Save the World.
No,
okay, Save the World is different. Yeah,
so people can direct purchase the things that they want. I think what this issue was more about is that Fortnite is clearly geared towards children. It's a large percentage of children that play this game, so they're saying, is it okay to have all these things in the game that cost real money that kids are going to want and they can easily purchase?
Yeah. It's just silly that these companies are like, well, we don't technically make money at Fortnite. It's like,
it's
what?
so ridiculous.
They're like, we make money at the skins, not Fortnite. It's like, what? Come on.
Oh my God.
Like, who's going to buy the skins if they're not playing the game? Obviously, they're buying the skins because they're playing the free-to-play version of the game. They want to show off. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's all the things that they were doing. Just watching this whole thing was just technicality. How can I squeeze out of it? Instead of just being honest, like, yeah, we make money from people buying skins. Okay, well, do you think that's predatory towards children because your game goes towards children? And then they just have to be honest with what they're doing and maybe put in more steps for people to make a purchase so that it's not children just spending thousands of dollars of their parents' money.
So I wonder how this goes for them in in a world where they just have a conversation with, the lawmakers and they, look, it costs a lot of money to make these games. We need a revenue stream if we're going to keep making them. There's a lot of people who work here that rely on this stuff getting bought. So, yeah, we understand that you guys don't like this loot box, centered thing. But, we also are really reticent to get rid of it because it does make us, a huge amount of revenue. So, let's talk. Let's have a conversation about, what's crossing the line in your eyes. How do we protect the kids, but also keep our revenue stream intact? But because they're being dickheads about it, they're just going to get chopped off at the knees, and nobody's going to feel bad for them.
Exactly.
I
mean, it's right. the tobacco company comparison is just perfect alignment.
Oh, it's perfect.
Because they're like, oh, no way this causes cancer. No way you're going to get a gambling addiction. No way kids are having an issue with their credit cards because of this. It's like, well, obviously they are by just taking a glance.
I mean, even just from me experiencing it, I used to buy so many Hearthstone cards just because Hearthstone card packs, because it's just exciting to open it. And then there's a gold shiny card and you're like, oh, I got a gold shiny card. Well, now I want to get a legendary card and I want to get a gold shiny of this legendary card. And then I can dismantle it all for dust to then buy the things that I want. So that's why I'm actually happy that Bungie's switching things up with dismantling things for dust, because that was a big reason why I bought a lot of Hearthstone packs, was to be able to dismantle them to buy the stuff that I wanted. So that's another way to get people to purchase more things that they don't actually want, because you're just buying things from the Eververse store, right? To get the dust, to be able to dismantle it, to buy the thing that you want. So I'm happy with that practice kind of going away as well, because that is a huge thing that makes people want to keep buying stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime they try and obfuscate, what they're actually trying to do, that just lends to mistrust. You might come into a system like that being like, oh, well, it's actually nice that when you break down this stuff, you get bright dust so you can actually buy the thing you want. But no, they're actually trying to get you, well, if I get a little more bright dust, then I can afford what I want. But when they get rid of these systems, to me, it lends trust to the developers, right? It's okay, if you're being upfront, I understand that you want to make money. You understand that you want to make money. Everybody knows this is a business, right?
Yeah, they want to keep doing it.
But if you're just trying to trick me all the time, then fuck yourself. I don't like that. Yeah. I don't go to hell. I'm not gonna interact with it at all.
Yeah, dishonesty rings and resonates for a long time.
Oh yeah.
It really does, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Briar, you nailed it with just saying, let's have a talk. Let's be real. I have to make money. Games are getting more expensive. It's millions of dollars to create these games now. Let's talk about it. Let's be honest about it. Let's figure out a way to protect children from spending all this money, getting gambling addictions, and also create a revenue stream. So you completely nailed it. But going in here and just being like, Epic makes no money. What do you mean? I don't understand.
Especially after the report of it making $2.4 billion in 2018?
Yeah.
I mean, how they're going broke after generating $2.4 billion? I mean, somebody is buying toilet seats for $40,000 if that's happening.
Yep.
I mean, look at what Epic is doing right now. They're building a store to compete with Steam. They're getting exclusive titles for their store. That money's coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Their whole
this is expensive stuff they're doing.
Future plans is backed by kids buying skins on Fortnite.
Right. Until it's illegal. They know it's illegal. That's why they're building the store, right? Is they know that eventually this gravy train will end. So they're planning for the future. That's where the store's coming from, right?
Yeah.
But Lord knows they want that gravy train to keep on flowing for as long as possible.
See, I don't mind the way that Fortnite does it. Like Fortnite BR is free, and then you can buy skins for your character directly. There's no gambling involved. But the problem with Epic's part of this whole thing is that there's nothing stopping a child from buying that stuff online, right? And I think to expect parents to be absolute experts in everything when it comes to games is a little bit unreasonable. Like, they're not gonna. I mean, they can load up the Fortnite store and be like, okay, well, what's my kid gonna do? This is what they could do. How could I stop them from doing it? And maybe you can just not link a card to your account, but then it gets even more confusing if you play Fortnite as well and your kid plays Fortnite and you want to buy skins. Do you have to unlink your card or your PayPal every time your kid wants to hop on? I think there could be an extra step between I want to purchase skin as a child and purchasing skin.
I see in chat like people kind of blaming the parents. Where are the parents? Parents not parenting.
Yeah.
Yo, parents have a lot of shit to do. Right? Like there's more than just like one thing that you're focusing on. And God forbid that you have a little bit of alone time that you can read a book or watch a TV show, an adult program, and your kids are just playing a video game that you think is fairly innocent. Not everybody is doing podcasts and shit and, is like super, into like the whole world of Fortnite and video games.
A lot of people are disconnected from that stuff.
Yeah, some people
super disconnected.
Know all about aerospace or know all about, the hospitality industry, but don't know dick all about video games. And, God forbid that they get a little bit of break from, parenting so they can watch Game of Thrones once a week and their kid plays a little bit of Fortnite. Let's ease up on parents here a little bit.
Well, because it's just, that's why I was talking more so about putting things on the box that parents could look out for and not have to be complete experts in everything, where it says there are in-game purchases. And I know they have that, but make it really clear, make it clear that if it's a game for children, it's like your kid could spend all your money in this video game. Just want you to know that. Beware. Maybe don't link the card.
Yeah.
I feel like they need to have two type of accounts, like they need an adult account and an underage account, and the underage account has to have like extra confirmations and extra security stuff that says, hey, you're spending over $50. You're going to have like whatever approval process happens in order to make sure that
you can have two-factor authentication where maybe it sends a code to your mom's phone.
Yeah, exactly.
And she has to say, yes, I approve of this. I think there's just other things that they could do.
Yeah. But again, that doesn't really fix what we just talked about of like parents not being involved in those things.
Right.
But I think if they're not going to self-regulate, then there's going to be things that have to be put into place that make them do that. And that is ultimately going to be a government that says, hey, you got to have things in there that distinguish between an adult account and a non-adult account.
Yeah. That'd be good.
That could be a good solution.
Because they have to, because like there's no reason to suddenly go spend $500 on a game. Like there's no reason. If you want to, I totally get that. I'm not saying that's wrong, but there's no reason for a new account to show up and suddenly drop $500 in like 30 minutes on those store items. So they need to have restrictions in there.
My boys just graduated high school, and I've kind of been like, I met them when they were 9 years old, and I kind of like was introducing them to technology on the way. And every step of the way, they found a way around the parental controls. I gave them Kindle and locked it so they couldn't use the internet. They found out that if they did an Amazon review, that got them access to the internet.
Oh my God.
Right? So like they had full, on a Kindle, they had full access to the internet because there was, this is a little side door. If given unlimited time, they always find a way, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the system is. They've always found a way to get unlimited access, even if there are parental controls on the device.
Wowza. Jeez.
They're not stupid, and they've got unlimited time.
Because I was looking at chat and I saw, some people who are parents and they have parental controls on PlayStation, for example, where Extreme Dan said, my kid's PSN has a parental lock, no password, no PS Store.
Yep.
There's things are in place, but unfortunately, kids are progressing just as fast as the technology is of getting around it. You have 11-year-olds
highly motivated,
the government. What the hell, man?
Right. if they're highly motivated to get past the system. Plus, all their friends are working on the same thing at school.
They're in a group chat. Like, guys, you figure out how to get into the PSN store yet?
I remember when I was at college, we figured out that instead of signing on for AOL, there was like a help button. And if you click the help button, it would log you into AOL. And then you just like kind of ignore the help window, and you could use AOL but not be getting charged for it. Because that back in those days, you dialed into AOL over a phone line, and they charged you per minute.
Damn, per minute.